I think the first month I hooked up with several girls. I got most of my lays here
Do you know
in
what you're
Georgia.
at? Have you kept count?
Yeah, I think it's close to 60, so it's like 56 or 7 or something.
That's the
Mhm.
average man in their entire life in America is it's like seven, maybe it's nine, but it's very small number like that. And you did that in
Mhm.
the first month of doing cold approach. So what would you say are the biggest several epiphanies that you had, or the biggest like blind spots that were holding you back that you were able to fix?
Um, Probably the one, like I said, like thinking you need to do a bunch of uh, like different complicated things to win the girl over or try to like game her when you really just need to like be direct, move it forward, be chill, be normal, and just take action. Like that was probably one of the biggest things.
So kind of
Is
getting
that
out of your own way and not like removing the unnecessary bullshit and getting to the core of what actually game is about, what seduction is about.
yeah,
And and that when you do that and you're not trying to like play a character or put on a mask, then the fact that most guys do that, that automatically makes you stand out, right? If you're able to just be
mhm,
authentic. And it's not, I'm not saying it's easy to get to that point, but that's the direction you want to move in because what a lot of people do when they learn game, what I did when I first is I added more of these layers of like falseness to
uh-huh,
my personality that made me worse and made me more socially awkward as opposed to peeling away those layers and just being genuine and like being able to make like direct eye contact and look at her like I like her, like I'm attracted to her, like make her feel that in a genuine way and move it
uh-huh,
forward. Right. And that's what
yeah,
most guys do is they think they're not good enough. Everything comes from the place I'm not good enough and I'll be good enough if and it could be I'll be good
mhm,
enough if, I buy a Dior shirt and I have a nice car, or it could be if I get muscular enough, or it could be if I say these correct lines and I have this sequence and I have the whole game thing.
mhm,
But that can backfire because it's adding all this ego to it. And really, if you're authentic and you're genuine and you make it clear, I want you, like a lot of girls are
mhm.
just going to find that immediately attractive.
Yeah, yeah. That was one of the biggest things. Yeah, for me. Also, just texting. Um, like you say, you should just use texting for meeting up. But a lot of times I was trying to game the girl over text, and I lost a lot of girls that way when I could have just gotten them out probably pretty
Like
easily.
trying to build the attraction and the interest over text.
Yeah.
But what really happens is you come across as needy or try hard because why do you need to do so much? Because if a
Yeah.
guy, like you imagine a guy who's very high status, who's, gets a lot of women, he would never do that.
Yeah.
Like that would be weird, right? Like imagine Leonardo DiCaprio is like, "Hey, by the way," and like sending all. It might actually work if he did it because he's so famous, but it would be very strange, right? It'd be like, "Why the fuck is this guy who I know has infinite options? Why is he sending me three paragraphs and like trying to push pull and all this weird stuff?"
Uh-huh.
Um, he would just be like, "Let's meet," right? He would make it much more
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a big thing. I still struggle with that sometimes because if a girl's not responding, I'm trying to like be gamey and then it backfires. Uh, but but yeah, that was one thing. And then like the other thing was probably just like not reading the girl and just kind of like being too pushy or not taking the action when I should have taken the action.
Okay,
So
so what do you mean by those?
like being afraid to move it forward, like maybe being afraid to touch her or kiss her or ask her home, or doing it too much, so not being calibrated. So if the girl would pull back, I would like keep trying more and more, and then the girl would like never want to see me again.
It starts to seem needy.
So yeah, I think like you said, like it seems needy if you don't do it, but it also seems needy if you're like too pushy. Like if you don't take the steps to move it forward, it seems needy because you're like worried about if she rejects you. But then also if you don't calibrate and pull back, then it also seems needy.
Yeah, I
So
mean, a
that
good
was
rule of thumb is you always have to be the first to escalate, right? Because it's very rare
uh,
that women are going to do it, but you should also be the first to pull back.
yeah, exactly. And that was just something that I struggled with. Even though I knew about it, even though I knew I should do it, I just for some reason I was like, no, I shouldn't pull back, or no, I shouldn't. push it forward, or I need to like play games or something. I don't know. It was like I was making it way more complicated than it needed to be. But yeah, now I just try to calibrate more. I'll move it forward. If the girl pulls back, I'll pull back, and then I'll try again later. I'll just keep that like back and forth, like that kind of dance, I guess you could say.
Are there any stories that stand out from game, right? Any like pulls or hookups or anything that was like particularly epic or just funny or interesting things that ended up happening?
Probably the craziest things that happen is like hooking up with multiple girls in the same day. That happened several times. Like one day, I hooked up with three girls, like two new and one like repeat,
Yeah.
and it was just pretty crazy because like uh, one was from cold approach and then two were from online. And it was like it was just like wow, this is crazy. And I even told the girl, she's like, when was the last time you hooked up? I'm like earlier today. She
Okay.
but she ended up being like a girl that was like for a while I was with her for like months, so it didn't really. I guess it was kind of like pre-selection or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, in
But
one way, it's kind of like makes them feel less special, but on the other way, it makes you seem higher value. So it's good and bad.
mhm. But that was just yeah, it was just crazy. I'm like three girls in one day. I'm like before it would be like no girls for years. It was like so it's like it's a very big contrast to me in a short
Right.
amount of time.
Overall, in terms of since you started doing game, what differences have you noticed in terms of how you feel about yourself, self-esteem, just like emotionally? Do you feel any different? Just like the not just like specifically getting laid a lot and having those cool experiences, but what differences have you noticed outside of that?
Yeah, so definitely my confidence is like way, way higher than it was because I had like social anxiety, like very severe social anxiety, most of my life. Like
Yeah,
even just around family members or any and just anyone.
yeah,
So if I would go into a room with a bunch of people, I'd feel like a lot of panic. But but now basically I feel like one of the most confident people in the room, maybe. If I go in a room with a bunch of people,
yeah.
I feel like I'm one of the most confident people in the room now. It's kind of like it's kind of like in the school when you had like the popular kids and they were like just being themselves and having fun and just confident, and then you had the kids that were like loners and stuff.
Hmm.
It's like the roles kind of reversed for me. I feel like I was kind of that loner in the room, but now I feel like I'm maybe like the popular kid or whatever. I don't care what people think. I'm just having fun, enjoying myself,
Right.
relax, and so that yeah, that was like a huge difference. And I don't worry about my insecurities anymore. Even though I have insecurities, it's like it doesn't really matter to me. It's like I know I can still get the things I want or go for what I want, even though I have insecurities or down downfalls or whatever.
Yeah. Do you notice any difference in terms of things like overall anxiety levels, depression, um, just how you think
Oh
about
yeah,
yourself?
yeah, definitely. So yeah, I used to have like really bad depression as well, and like really bad insomnia as well, and all those things have like drastically improved. So like I almost never really have depression. I mean, I might get down sometimes, but it's not like a big deal. I'll just go through and then feel better again. And yeah, my general anxiety is like way lower.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I don't talk about it that much, but from pickup, one of the greatest benefits you get, obviously there's getting laid and sleeping with three girls in one day or whatever, things like that. Those are nice, but really the biggest benefit is, and I can't, I'm not a medical doctor, so I can't say use this instead of antidepressants or something like that. I'm not saying that, but
Mhm.
I've noticed and I've heard from many clients and many people who've done this that it significantly changes like all those things that you have that are like depression, stress, anxiety, all those kinds of things tend to significantly reduce because it's like exposure therapy, right? You're facing your fears, you're facing your ego, you're getting over them. And so even though it might
Mhm.
sound like, especially women who like watch my channel, most of them are going to think this is just, it's about being a fuck boy and banging as many girls as possible. For some people, it could be, but really, the biggest change that you'll notice is getting over all of those things, and that can be more important. Like a lot of my best nights are not nights where I pulled a hot girl. It's the nights where I just had more fun just was more in a flow state out of my own way than I ever could have been in the first, 24 years of my life or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, now when I go out, I feel like I can just really just be myself and have fun. But I remember when I first started going out, it was like one of the worst feelings ever. Like I just did not want to do it. I like felt like that feeling in your stomach of like butterflies going up into your chest. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like a horrible feeling. But now it's like, yeah, cool. Let's go out. Like I want to go out. Like I enjoy it. Like I'm looking forward to it. But to your point about anxiety and depression, it's definitely because yeah, you're exposing yourself to like a lot of stress. Usually because like biologically, it's like dangerous maybe to approach women or something like that. But you're doing it on a consistent basis, so you learn to deal with stress, and that translates to other areas of your life.
Yeah, you learn to stop resisting stress and hiding from it and avoiding it, which is what causes anxiety. For people who don't know, generally it's all about avoidance. It's about you don't want this feeling, you don't want this experience, and you shrink away from it. So if you have panic disorder, like I had very severe panic disorder, your life shrinks more and more over time. So you get social anxiety, so you avoid social situations. You get agoraphobia, so you avoid being in large crowds because that makes you uncomfortable. And then got to the point where the first time I went to college, I dropped out. I failed like half my classes. I dropped out because even being in a class was too much anxiety. And so I avoided that. And I couldn't hold a job. It got to a point where I was doing nothing, right? And you're just trying to cope and avoid. And some people might turn to alcohol or drugs or just basically being a shut in and just watching TV all day. That was me. And your life
Mhm.
shrinks more and more. And ironically, paradoxically, the thing that makes it all go away is by leaning in to discomfort intentionally, leaning into something that gives you anxiety, that gives you resistance. And pickup is, in many ways, the best one because not only does it get you over that anxiety and it starts to fade away because you realize it's not as big a deal as you thought. When you stop avoiding it, it's like a Chinese finger trap, right? Like when you,
Mhm.
the farther you resist it, you get stuck. But when you just lean into it, that's when it goes away. But it's also something that you have a lot of motivation for because, everyone wants to get laid unless you're asexual or something.
Yeah.
So it's also something where there's like a reward that's just meditating is great if you can do that. I recommend it, but it's not going to drive you in the same way to take action because it's not goal oriented, right? There's not something to strive towards. With game, like
Yeah.
everyone wants hot chicks.
And I've meditated a lot. Like before I got into game, I would meditate like hours a day, and that actually didn't get rid of my anxiety. So I think it was because meditating, you're not actually in a situation that is potentially dangerous. I mean, approaching women is not dangerous, but it might have been in the
It
past.
feels
I
like
think,
it is.
yeah, it feels like it is. So when you actually put yourself in situations that are actually something's on the line, like meditating, nothing's really on the line. So you don't actually have to face. You can relax, yeah, but you don't actually have to relax in the face of danger or real anxiety. So I
Right.
think that's one of the huge things is that you have to like meditate in the face of like the storm or whatever. Like when you're approaching a girl or you're taking a girl home, you're in the situation where you have to relax under stress.
And it will make you a
So
lot more present too.
yeah, yeah. So I think like game is like better than meditation for learning how those skills of like relaxation and presence.
Dealing with anxiety, dealing with the all negative emotions, those kinds of things.
Yeah, because you have
So
to
do you
do it
ha
when the pressure is there.
so do you have any, because I'm about to be out of time, but do you have any uh, advice, suggestions for anyone watching this who might be in a similar position to you when you were starting and you were stuck and you were struggling?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I would say you definitely have to get around positive people in a group. I feel like that's absolutely necessary. Whether it's joining Avery's group or getting wings, but you need people that are positive, not people that are gonna like create negative beliefs around it. So like some wings they're like negative. Like some wings I have, there's like it's all about money and it's all about looks, and that's not really good for you. So you need to
It's
find those
terrible
people
for
that
you.
yeah. I still have wings like that. I try to convince them otherwise, but they just won't
Like, do you
change.
show them your receipts? Like, oh, here's another girl I pulled. Here's another girl. Here's another girl.
Yeah, but they'll be like, "Oh, but you can't keep her though." It's like, okay.
It's good they find a way to rationalize.
Uh-huh. So yeah, you really need to find that group of those people that are motivating you and they're also positive, and get that feedback. Because without that, I don't think I would have ever been able to do it myself without a group like that.
Yeah,
So
so
that's
the way, if you want to know, so the group he's talking about, it's called the Inner Circle, which is my premium mastermind group. Now, the only way to join it is by taking a boot camp. So the only way to join it, at least for the time being, is to take an in-person boot camp because basically that keeps the group very high quality because it's people who are extremely motivated or taking it very seriously, as opposed to just if anyone joins it, it's not going to be the same kind of group. Um, and that's my way of making sure that if you take a boot camp, you're going to have 3 days where you do like 100 approaches, where you get amazing results and you make a lot of progress. But I just don't want to leave you. Then after that, you're just on your own. And you have to figure it out on your, just hope you make it work. We do weekly group coaching calls where you'll see actually Steve posts, I mean, he posts field reports multiple times a week. He shows the girls that he's, blurs their face, but shows his success stories, if you will. So he shows receipts. You see story after story, and you can go back in the history and see the beginning where he was completely struggling. So you're seeing other people get to the next level, make progress, have results, have success. And then you're also going to be getting access to these coaching calls where based on what you're struggling with, based on what you're stuck with, I'm going to give you specific goals, specific things to work on for the next week to make sure that you're just getting better and better and better and that you're held accountable in the long term so that it's not just, let's say you take a boot camp, do amazing that weekend, but then you feel stuck after that, right? It's to make sure that you keep going up, keep getting better, keep making improvements.
First time I ever took Avery's boot camp, I actually just lost my virginity, which is like pretty eye-opening.
What's going on, guys? This is Ron. I'm here out in Vegas on a freaking day boot camp with Avery. So watching these testimonials is the reason I actually came out here. I wanted to get outside my comfort zone. I wanted to approach more, and I've definitely been doing that. I mean, Avery, he pushes you to like, he'll see a hot girl and he'll tell you go approach. So like, I've approached some of the hottest women I ever approached in my life, and I never thought I could do that until I came to this boot camp.
What's up, guys? My name's Andrew. It's like my 20th time recording this fucking video. I'm one of Avery's boot camp clients. Just got off the boot camp like not even 2 days ago. This is my follow-up testimonial to report some success that I've had. Long story short, I got laid from cold approach. And just some context, I'm a guy who has never done cold approach in my life.
Before, I would just go out day after day after day, and I would get, I guess, somewhat success, but I would never attempt for it. I would just get like a whole bunch of dates, a whole bunch of instant dates, and I'm just like, all right, it's pretty much already down, so like for sure we're gonna hook up the next time we see each other. And it just never happened. Basically, I see this hot girl. This girl was just standing out here in the chaos of 6th Street, and she was just standing there alone. And I never really attempted to just go for the pull. I always just played it safe, just like, I'll just have complete faith that it's just going down. But Avery heavily expressed, just go for it, just see what happens. So I'm just like, just drop the ego, drop whatever I learned, just do as he said, just do it.
If you guys want to take this boot camp, you definitely should. I definitely recommend it. You're definitely going to improve. Like, it's just gonna build my character more. Like, I'm becoming more confident when I go up to women and talking to them, and I think that's priceless. I wanna thank Avery for like this boot camp. It's been awesome. It's been an awesome weekend here in Vegas. Everybody's fun here, and definitely check it out. So I've definitely did more approaches today than I have like previously, like in my whole life. I'm approaching, like, I see a hot girl, like Avery says, just approach, like eliminate all the excuses, and I've gotten more numbers than I ever have. I went on a date from a cold approach, which I've never done before.
I saw Avery on YouTube, and that's why I did the boot camp. I was curious. It's just a great experience. You have a lot of leverage. They help you break down the mental barriers, all the shit you're telling yourself, reasons why you don't do it. Just a good experience. You get to be around Avery, the guy's about this fucking life. Massive fucking respect to Avery. Really inspirational just being around him. He's going to challenge you the whole night. He's going to go over what you did wrong, what you did right. You're going to learn. But more so than anything, for a guy like me, beginner, complete fucking beginner, going to break down the barriers. Again, I'm someone never cold approached in my fucking life. I end up going and hooking up with, I'm not going to lie, she was fucking pretty fucking hot, all right? just going to med school. Like, it was a good fucking time. At the end of the day, it's not even about, you know, how many girls you're fucking, all this ego shit. To me, at least, it's about that social, emotional freedom and just challenging yourself and getting out of your comfort zone. Because personally, I think that's what life is all about.
Because he's the coach or whatever, right? So I see this girl, and she's like on her phone or whatnot, and she's like, she had like this banging body, and so take her to my hotel, and after that, it's just, I lost my V card. I never thought I'd lose it to like a hot girl for like my first time. I'm just glad I got that reference, so that way I just know I have the ability to do it again. I highly advise you just get his coaching. He'll just iron out the flaws so it just goes by so smoothly. That way, you know, you'll have more wins, and it just builds that certainty on you creating this awesome experience, and you're not flinching when you're just going for whatever you want. He really just hammers on just building like that self-congruence, so that like you are that guy, so that way you can just, you know, act on your intentions and just not be ashamed of it. So yeah, that being said, I highly advise you take his boot camp no matter what skill level.
So quick update, since I did the testimonial, I just met like this really awesome chick. Like, she literally just like was telling me that, you know, I'm falling in love with you. It was a crazy experience. Like, we started making out. She was telling me like how it all seemed like a movie, and like how it all seemed like it was fate. Like, it's my last day here, it's her first day here, and she said it was just like coincidence after coincidence that happened. And like it all seemed to like line up perfectly, and like she kept thanking me throughout the interaction. She kept saying like, I'm so glad that I met you tonight. And it just goes to show, you know, like this pickup shit is real, you know. It's like, it's not just like fake, or like these girls actually want to be approached. These girls actually like want to have these positive experiences. They get a lot of negative experiences from guys that don't know what they're doing. But if you take like a boot camp with Avery, you're gonna know what to do. So definitely check it out.
To end this, so if you guys are on the fence, at least in my opinion, I think it was a very worthwhile experience just to really put yourself out there, like at all costs, because I'm sure many fucking people can relate, but you know, I'm the type of guy who would like, socializing just seems like kind of like it's not logical, and I'm very logical. I feel like, you know, I could try to go do it by myself, but I'll have like so many fucking reasons. I'll be like, you know, I could go to the gym right now, I can go fucking run a marathon, you know what I mean? And really a lot of it's bullshit, but if you do this boot camp, you'll really find out for yourself this is what it's like, and it's not that fucking bad, and you can really grow as a person.